Well, thank you very much, and big conversation this evening. Fighting Galamsey, is the battle against illegal mining a political suicide? That's the big question on the table. But why would I say that? But before I say that, let me start by what's happened. Today's been a very busy day. In the morning, the CSR met the media and explained to the media the dangers and the dangers ahead that Galamsey is posing, and they told us about how waters are being poisoned, the regions that depend heavily on tap or pipe-borne water, and these same rivers that supply the waters are heavily under attack. And you look at the situation and it's quite close to home, and you know that we must intensify this fight, that whatever it is, we need to rescue our waters at all costs. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful occasion. So I say thank you very much to CSR and the media coalition that brought all this together. And again, what happened today, Seth Kwame Boateng Next to Die documentary, the First Lady, Lady Rebecca, also, put her weight behind it. They tried to raise funds this evening. I haven't gotten the total yet, but I know, there were big players giving really generous sum. Ghana gave 250,000. The NLA gave 20,000 and promised another 200,000. Gassem has promised cement to finish whatever the project is, because what happened was that they need to build an emergency ward, which will last 3 months, and then take their time to finish the 43-year-old one that we all saw. So I say thank you very much to Seth Kwame Boateng for pushing this, and for those who don't know, he's the Abakoma Hene of Edumasa. So he's my chief, you see. He's done very well. But to everybody who puts their weight behind this, I say thank you. For once, Ghanaians can stand back and say, we did it. We didn't wait for Chinese, we didn't wait for Russians or Italians. We rose to the occasion and solved our problem. And I wish that this will become the culture, and one after the other we will tackle so many issues. So then back to this evening's conversation. Once upon a time, JM, ex-president John Dramani Mahama said, listen, I was not going to give any allowances to teachers and nurses. If you don't want me, vote me out. And indeed, when the elections results came, he was voted out massively. It now turns out that, well, President Akufo-Addo is in the house, and there's Galamsey menace going on, and there are quite a number of people in there doing the damage. And they are saying, listen, if you don't let us damage and poison these waters, we're not going to vote you in. He says, well, tough, keep your vote. I'm going to keep the waters. And I'm asking, is it political suicide or is wise governance? My name is Nana Ansakwa, the 4th Chief of Akwamu Edumasa, and your host. I'm coming straight back. Well, thank you very much. With me in studio to find out if fighting Galamsey is a battle, a political suicide for whoever finds himself in that office and attempts this fight. Because Ghanaians have developed this culture that, listen, let me break the law and I'll vote for you. So let me pitch camp on the road, I'll vote for you. Let me just build my kiosk anywhere and I'll vote for you. Let me sell by the traffic light, sell on the pavement, and I'll vote for you. Let me break the law and you get my vote. And so politicians who chase votes then decide, well, if you're going to bend the rules a little bit and vote for me, why not? So Dr. Bosman Asari is head of political science department, so this falls right within his jurisdiction. This is what he teaches. Doc, you're welcome.
Thank you, Nana.
But Doc, I will start. So many things have gone on today, so I'll start with you with, let's start with the fundraising. A little comment on the fundraising to come together as ones, for once to solve our own problems.
I think the initiative is highly, highly commendable. I was monitoring some of the footages and I was really appreciative. I heard the Goyle 250,000. I think the Judges and Magistrate Association, some 3,000, etc. And I said, no, this is something I really want to be part of it, because as a country, I think that these are some of the things we have to be doing. We shouldn't be waiting for people to want to address our challenges. And these are normal problems Ghanaians are going through. We know there are some affluent Ghanaians who go outside, they enjoy some of this benefit, but why don't we do it for our own people? So I think it's a laudable initiative, and many Ghanaians should be seen to be part of it.
I definitely commend that. And before the end of the show, I'll try and get some of the numbers. So I'll put the numbers out. So if you're at home and you want to donate something, I'll find the mobile number and some of the account numbers. So I put it out. But, sometimes it's so embarrassing when, there's something really close to us happening within our means, and then somebody flies all the way from Denmark and then comes to, provide the thing. It's, I think, for your own integrity and respect, Doc, sometimes it doesn't augur well.
No, it doesn't. And we had a discussion. I took some students to the U.S. Embassy. We were talking about some of these things came up there. And my students were like, oh, these people. And I'm like, we need to fix our country. If we want to get recognition, we must be ready to fix our country. And it begins from areas like healthcare, education. These are critical areas we need to be seen to be doing more for our people. And based on the information courtesy of Joy, I think the number of babies who are dying because they have been put together at one particular location in a court, etc. I think it's very unfortunate. We have come very far as a country. If we can't do anything at all for our citizens, healthcare, quality healthcare, I think we should be able to guarantee that.
Well, thank you very much for that. And Doc, the question today on the table is if indeed fighting illegal miners is a political suicide.
Now, to be frank with you, I look at it from a different angle. Once you are elected as president, the Ghanaian people elected you to come and fix the problems they are facing. And in many instances, it's not always the case that by winning election, then it means we believed in all your political or your party manifesto. But certain things are very transcendent, certain things are very, very important. And I think as a country, we've all come to the conclusion that Galamsey is a threat. Even those who are engaged in it, they know it's a threat to our survival as a country. But always the reason is that there is no alternative livelihood for us, so we will continue and engage in this. So if you have a president who thinks that no, and just like many Ghanaians, this thing cannot continue, we cannot continue to destroy the environment, to destroy our water bodies, and I'm going to take some serious chances, serious opportunities, etc., to address. I don't see it as a political suicide. Because my thinking is that elections are won based on the performance of a government or not performing. So if at the end of the day you have an administration that is committed to this particular fight, I believe you are going to get several other individuals who are going to support you and say that if you have been able to do this, then we are going to see you through. And even beyond that, one thing and now we have to take into consideration is that this is not a situation whereby the other parties are saying that don't fight Galamsey. In other words, the PPP, the CPP, the NDC, all of them know that Galamsey is a threat to our national security, to human security. So we have a collective agenda. So it's not like one party will benefit from it or the other party will be affected. I think the onus lies on the NPP administration. If they can do whatever is proper, whatever is necessary to bring the problem to the barest minimum, I think it will even be easier for them moving forward.
But you see, this is the time where maybe let's say the NDC being the major opposition party would have come out, equally strong, saying, listen, this is where we also stand. Whether you vote for A or you vote for B, this is where we stand. But I've said this 1,000 times. I might sound like a broken record, but if you are in a position, you just want to play softly and see, if they are going to, their displeasure would suit you.
No, I think the NDC as a party is going through a lot of internal wranglings, internal challenges. I think they are still waiting on Professor Kwesi Botwe's report. And as a political party that has won election, the manner in which they lost, you don't want to bring yourself in the public domain for an issue that is so very dear to the heart of certain Ghanaians. And I know even behind the scenes, the NDC acknowledges that this is a problem. And the NDC generally believes that if they had even addressed that particular problem, I was monitoring either your network or one of them, and they say when in Ghana did the media and all of a sudden everybody came on board, and now they've realized that Galamsey was now a problem. Why didn't they do the same thing during the era of the NDC? So that's an indication that the NDC is even so excited, maybe in a negative or in a positive way, that the media, they've come together with the political party, which is the MPP, and they are addressing that particular problem. And I know most of our voters are discerning voters, maybe more than 50%, and they are looking at the performance of government. So once a party is not speaking against it and one party is committed to something which is a national disaster, I think that if we're able to do it, it will inure to the benefit of your party.
Doc, you know, one of the issues which bother us is jobs. I've always said, and I believe that it's not that there aren't any jobs, it's just that the jobs that we want are not there. That's one major problem for Ghana. Now, you see, those who are engaged in Galamsey, the amount of money they earn in the period they earn, and if you tell this person to go and plant palm or plant cashew or wait for 5 years before you start harvesting, no. The average youth now, you know, goes into apprenticeship. As soon as they get 1,000 cedis, they buy Okada, they're gone. They won't even finish. And that's become a major attitude. So these are also all potential voters who are now working at disgruntled that, well, as Ojuma saying, we don't have a job, we don't have a job. I mean, that's, you know, could be a suicide.
No, I think I concede and I even acknowledge that, because the reality is that we as a country, we know unemployment is a problem. I know the experts normally talk about the most important problems we face as a country. Obviously, unemployment is number one on the agenda. The energy challenges we are having, and the Galamsey. But I think beyond that, as a country, when we are making policies or coming out with programs to address problems, we should be thinking about what is in the national interest. There are individuals who have certain parochial, political parties may have certain agendas. But once we consider something to be in the national interest, although as an individual you are benefiting a lot, greatly from it, we know certain communities are really benefiting. But let's look at the collective. Because Ghana is a unitary republic, so most of the things we do, they have implications at the national level. So are we going to sit down and say that because some people are making, let's say, 20,000 Ghana a month and their actions are destroying our survival, are we not going to act? So I think the national interest must take precedence over individual concerns. And luckily for us as a country, we have the security agencies there, we have the army, we have the police, the BNI, all these intelligence agencies are there. And their job is to ensure that we do things. And no, these agencies function because we have the commander-in-chief, the president of the republic, who has an agenda that these are the things I want to see addressed. And Galamsey is one of the critical issues. And this is something, if we don't want to get to a point where Ghana will be importing water. We don't want to get to that level, and we don't want to get to a point where our environment is so destroyed to the extent that agricultural productivity will even go down. And when you talk to the experts, even the contribution of the mining sector to the GDP is not so much. So we shouldn't allow some individuals' parochial agendas to undermine the goodwill, the entire development of our country. So I think as a country, we must take some immediate steps. But the good thing, the last time I heard the Minister for Lands, Mr. Peter Mewu, talking about alternative livelihoods for them, which is very, very important. And the government must be committed to doing that. We can't meet them or at least what they need is not possible. We can address it, but certainly we should be able to meet them some halfway. And that should be able to do the trick for us.
Dr. Sari, is our political culture, the one that we have adopted, too expensive? Not necessarily only in money, but in terms that it seems to make everything break down. The stakes are so high that we were sort of fighting with ourselves. How do I mean? The security forces you mentioned are scared to move in because maybe those who are digging are belonging to the party that gave you the job. You know, is it too expensive and that we need to look at it again?
I think one problem we are facing in this country is that normally those of us in political science we say partisanship trumping policy. In other words, the good thing we need to do, we allow partisan considerations to take precedence over that, and that is happening in the fight against Galamsey. We know certainly that if you are the government in power, you are always thinking about the next election. What can I do to be able to win election? And one thing which also happens in the world of politics is that policies are very incremental. In other words, people experience changes in very small ways. So if you really want to win, and in Ghana where the contest is so keenly between two main political parties, the parties know that everything you do becomes so important. The Galamseyers may have their spouses, their kids, etc. Some of them may be taking part in the process. So once you deny 5 people the chance not to engage in Galamsey, literally you are denying about 30 or maybe 100 people the opportunity to live a decent life. So those people may end up voting against you. But the reality is that the politicians must understand. And when you are elected, one of the key things you must acknowledge is that you are leaving a legacy. And I think that the President of the Republic has repeatedly been saying that I want to leave a particular legacy. I want to be seen as the leader who was able to do A, B, C, and D. And when you are in that particular mode, the thinking is that maybe if I don't do it, or when I leave, Ghanaians will say I wasn't able to do A, B, C, and D. But if you are committed to it, I believe there are many out there. Now, when you look at the outcome of the 2016 election, you realize that maybe about 20 to 30% of the voters are so independent that if you perform as a government, they are going to look at it and reward you. And I think those numbers far outweigh those who support Galamsey or they are less supporters of Galamsey. So I think if the government is really committed, as they've told us, they can really do it, and those partisan considerations will not have any impact. We know there are certain security agencies, security personnel, etc., who are complicit in this. We know anytime you send troops to go and push these people out there, move them from what they are doing, they may even end up giving them that particular information. But once they know clearly that the executive is so committed to it, they can't do anything. So I think all Ghanaians must show their support towards this particular fight.
Showing support. Let me go on the phone and speak to a man who's also showing a lot of support behind this fight. It's Mr. Suleiman Okoni, who's the CEO, Ghana Chamber of Mines. So when you talk about Galamsey, that's well within their jurisdiction, mining, but the responsible type. Suleiman, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, Nana.
I am very grateful that you could join us via phone. But let me simply ask, before we even go, I mean, how did we get here with regards to the irresponsible mining to this scale with such impunity?
I think there is multifaceted, but for those of us who are quite close to the menace, we will tell you that it is the inaction of duty bearers to do what is expected and to do what is right. Yes, if you look at the history where we have come from, we've always had some form of artisanal mining, where you go through panning, like a traditional vocation, nothing, impacting the environment, just traditional panning and that kind of thing. But then after a while, when the price of gold started shooting up, I remember around the year 2000, the price of gold was around $250 per ounce. And then it started shooting up around 2004, 2005. And then we had this scale, we started seeing signs of organized, illegal mining, where what they would do primarily is to target mining companies. So they'll go on the concession of mining companies, and then they would compete with them on their bona fide concessions. Naturally, the mining industry was concerned with issues with, duty bearer. But unfortunately, we didn't really get a kind of support. Of course, there was some support, but we didn't really get a kind of support to help us nip this menace in the bud. Or the refrain was that, look, these guys are poor and they're actually making a living and shouldn't, worry them because, look, it's about livelihoods and all of that. So in actual part, we actually turn a blind eye on this. And that's how come we are where we are. Wow. We had always said that this thing is a menace, it is dangerous, and if you put all the aspects and features of the government together, it's a major security threat. And if we did not do anything about it, it will catch up with us. So it's a major issue of the Chamber of Mines. We have to celebrate conducting studies, engaging whoever. Is it the Chief Inspector of Mines? Is it the Chief Justice? Is it the Attorney General, IGP? And from time to time, we organize seminars practically every other year from the year 2011. The last one was last year. And we come out, we communicate, goes to the various regulatory boards for them to really understand where we are with practical recommendations. Over and above that, the Chamber also organized, a whole research sometime in 2010 to really understand this whole ramification. That it was like a new phenomenon coming up so strongly that we really need to understand what is behind this whole thing. The recommendations, we engaged the various ministries, the chief directors, policy dialogue, we did all of that, but ultimately, the uptake was not as expected. Of course, the mining companies also had to spend a lot of money to secure their concessions. Although from time to time you have illegal miners going, to compete with them, well armed and all of that. Unfortunately, the mining companies could not be armed. Naturally, we have to try and work with the national security. So we had some sort of support, although not 100%. And with that resistance coming from the mining, probably the easiest way out is to look at other alternatives where you wouldn't have security, are chasing them and all of that. So it fell on the public land, and then the water. And then it got to a point where now cocoa farmers now decided to sell their farmland. So pathetic. So that is what actually happened. In fact, this thing has happened over the years, but now with new technology, people are now shouting and crying foul because see the physical manifestation of the impact of illegal mining. Drones being used to take pictures, pictures of the extent of devastation and all of that. But because we have been working intimately around this problem, we see it all the time. One of the things the Chamber of Mines decided way back 2006 was to institute what we call a security committee, because we realized that illegal mining was becoming a major threat, and it was taking mining companies' focus away from core production into how to police your concession and to ensure that you don't have, infiltration and all of that. So we have been sitting with this. We made lots of recommendations. And a number of them, we could go into that, but we believe that small-scale mining is the way to go. Proper legalized small-scale mining is the way to go because the law supports that. And we should, as a country, do whatever to formalize it. Because like we all know, before we started large-scale mining, we had a form of mining taking place before the Europeans came. And we can always go back to it. If you want to use technology, you want scale and all of that, it's available. It's available. Unless, alternatively, we could also adapt technology, local technology, to help us to do our work. So it's important that we recognize that illegal mining, what it is, the law says it is illegal. But small-scale mining is permitted by law.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah, so hold on there one for me. I'll come back to the small-scale mining. But with me in the studio is Dr. Bosman Asare, who's the head of the Political Science Department, University of Ghana. Doc, I'm listening to Suleiman Akoni, CEO, Chamber of Mines, and he's listed, very elaborate research, preparation, people, document, everything. So back to my question, how expensive is our politics to the point that with all these people, there was no political will to stop it, knowing that water was life? I mean, it's not like bitumen that's going to go off a road and tomorrow you can come up. I mean, that was fresh water. there's something seriously wrong with our political culture.
No, there was a study done by a prominent political scientist called Mayhew, and his conclusion is that politicians are always thinking about the next election. And you know, one thing we lack also in our politics is elite consensus on what is right. In other words, the main political players to agree on something, all of them, oh, this is the right thing to do, it's not there. So usually we hear of conflicting positions by the main political parties. But I think luckily for us, on this Galamsey issue, the main players seem to recognize that this is a national crisis, this is a national problem of catastrophic proportions if we don't address. So I think that although the politics is very, very expensive, because parties are thinking that if you don't win, it takes about 4 years, at times even 8 years before you get the chance to be at it again. And you know, NDC has just lost election. Looking at even the trajectory, what we've been having since 2000, chances are that MPP may go for about 8 years. And if Ghanaians think that they've had enough of the MPP, they will consider the NDC. So if you are the NDC, you are positioning yourself, trying to give yourself the chance. But on this particular issue, the main players agree. So although the politics is a problem, it's majoritarian, we are having some problems. I think this is an issue, any party that openly comes out and say that don't do it, you may end up paying a lot of prices for that. So I think that there is consensus on this. But beyond that, we don't want a situation whereby the consensus will just be merely a 9-day wonder. We talk about it now. But as now, this is an issue the media talking about it, civil society, ordinary Ghanaians are talking about it. And in agenda setting studies, the experts will tell you that anytime you have an issue, the media players are talking about it, civil society, ordinary people are talking about it, and the government actors are also talking about it. That means you have the support to be able to address that particular problem. And if you are the government of the day, you don't want that window to close. So that's why you see that sense of urgency. And I think for the first time, I sense that we are having a sense of urgency on our part to be able to address a problem. And many Galamseyers, although it's still ongoing, several places, we still get the information that a number of these people have decided to put a stop to it. So the main thing is that the fight must be consistent. It must, there shouldn't be any winning in it at all. Let's do it. And once the politicians from different sides, they agree that this is a bad thing, I think we can address it.
Mr. Coney. Hello, Mr. Coney. Hello?
Yes, I'm here, Nana.
Oh, good. That was Dr. Sari. But you landed on, proper small-scale mining.
Yeah.
Regulation is a major challenge.
That's right.
The youth of today, instead of taking 2 years to become the finest carpenter or 6 months to become the best tiler, would rather buy an Okada or ride, or go into the field, dig, and supposedly make quick money.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have 2-3 million people thinking, well, now they've regularized it, so I'm going to get a license and go and find somewhere, even if they are using shovels, aren't we going to come back to squares, the same?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Because you see, for me, once you say you are licensing, what does it mean? It means that every step of the way, as far as your operations are concerned, are regulated.
We don't have enough EPA people.
Well, and my refrain, and I've said it several times, that if you know you cannot regulate, if you know you cannot supervise and monitor, then you don't license. Because once you license, they ask that you are on my radar. I'm supervising you and I'm watching you every step of the way. So if the numbers are so large, or you know that you don't have the capacity, there are capacity constraints, probably not in terms of knowledge, but numbers, then naturally you don't have a business actually licensing that many people. So the important thing is agree that when we say license, what does it mean? Does it mean that you are just being issued a paper and you go do your own thing without monitoring? I don't think so. I think it's about license. You are being supervised, you are being regulated, you are being pushed, you are being supported in the way that would help your business and would also help the country. You understand?
Yeah.
So we should not just assume that because it is small mining license and you can just go out there and do your own thing. No. If you look at what happens in the last scale mining sector, licenses are issued, and once the license is issued, there are license conditions. The conditions which will go with the license. Otherwise, the license becomes void. And the regulator has every right to actually withdraw the license. And once the license can't step in there and do anyway. So I think it's a question of, as a nation, understanding what we want to do with small-scale mining. And say we are seeing it as a business. It is not a pastime. It's a whole business. And if it is a business, what regulatory measures do we put in place to ensure that they do it and they do it the way they should? It should provide decent jobs. The other day, I said, you can't have small-scale miners working using Chaliwate. It is not on. It is not on. You understand? And as far as the chamber is concerned, the difference between large-scale mining and small-scale mining essentially is the scale of work. But mining is mining. Whether it's small scale or large scale, it is mining. And the reason why someone in the large scale mining would wear protective clothing is the very reason why someone in small scale mining should also be protected. The mining methods should be regulated, closely regulated. So I think it's a question of us as a people understanding what we want to do with small scale mining. I've never believed in just issuing license and you can just go your way. There should be reporting mechanism, reporting relationships between the licensee and the licensor, so to speak. So you are in the field, you are doing your work occasionally, you have like a extension officer in agriculture coming to supervise and even coach you and helping you to do your work. Alternatively, we could also, or in addition to that, we could also insist that as a condition for the permit of the license, so any engineers, we churn out so many mining engineers from the University of Mines and Technology. And yet we say there are no jobs. And yet look at what we are doing to small scale mining. So already, if you are looking at this comprehensively, it just tells you that we have the resources to do that. It's just about the thought process. How do we think about it, clearly and formalize it, using our own internal resources? Some of these, you don't have to bring technology from outside. You don't have to bring resources from outside. It's just about thinking about the process and say, this is a business and we can harness this using our own internal resources to do it the way we should.
So let me say with this, Connie. I mean, some people have proposed for a total ban on literally any metal whatsoever, ban it. And we say so because our track record of discipline, our track record of monitoring, I mean, even look at filling stations and where they are placed. And this is something that happens in cities. And they are placed somewhere and you wonder, did the EPA really look at this? If we're going to regularize this where they are in the forest somewhere, you and I are sat in Accra, I mean, do we really want to go there again if indeed we are able to reverse this trend and get our environment back?
And Dana, God has given us mineral resources, and we have to harness them. We have to utilize them. Don't tell me we should only invite foreign direct investment to do mining. No, I work with the Chamber of Mines, but I will not support that idea. We are looking for a parallel approach where you have large-scale mining working alongside small-scale mining. Our own brothers and sisters should have the opportunity to mine. In any case, most mining jurisdictions, that's how it started. That's how they have developed their country. And we should never say that we don't have the discipline and therefore we should fold our arms, do nothing, and only invite foreign capital to come and do it. I will never subscribe to that. And therefore, if we lack the discipline, we should cultivate that discipline. And that is where regulation comes in. And that's where vigilance comes in. Because these things happen in communities. People should report.
No, Suleiman, see, when we call on total ban on metal, it doesn't mean total ban, whether you're a foreigner or local. Because, you see, we are told, and maybe after this it's going to come that even the big players cause so much damage. It's just that theirs is, probably diplomatic, and that's why it's not out there in the open like the normal Galamsey. But I hear they have their own fair share of irregularities.
Nana, it's interesting. These things are being talked about the last years. I'm yet to hear research which points to this. Of course, we know people who are really anti-mining, and they will have lots of sentiments. They will say a lot of things about mining. But, truth stands. Truth stands. We have the EPA. In fact, the mining industry probably is the most regulated industry in the country. I can give you the number of regulators. The GRA, Water Resources Commission, EPA, Inspector Division, Forestry Commission, a number of them. And each of them, they are on the mine, inspecting what is happening. You have to issue reports and all. And that's why we always go back. Already have good examples in this country as far as large-scale mining companies are concerned. What can we learn from them? Like I have told you, other countries who are not mining, because they have alternatives. Or they probably don't even have the resources at all. And you should understand the contributions of mining to our economy. When it comes to mining, number one, in terms of fiscal contributions over the years. Same with foreign exchange. Are we prepared to forgo all of that because we lack discipline? No, we should cultivate that discipline. Okay, we should mine responsibly.
Dr. Colley, I'm going to take a sound bite from the minister, but before then, I just put this question in mind. I mean, I hear we make more in Akrantia grass cutter than we make in mining. So stay put on that. I'm coming straight back. Let's hear this sound.
Honorable Minister, Ghana Subegu. Galamsey, out of 10 regions, 8 regions, and Galamsey. 2 regions, and Galamsey, Ghana. 2 regions, and Galamsey. Now, Honorable Minister,
the minister suggesting that we should stop Galamsey is good. But listen, I've been home for 8 good years. I had a parcel of land, but that was seized from me. The person who took the land is now driving a Range Rover and building big houses. So
I say you go Galamsey, nana buy ni be fisu krana, omegu ne office.
Now our government is in power, so we can work and get some cash, and suddenly you want to collapse Galamsey. If they don't want us to do Galamsey, we will stop, and in 4 years we will vote him out.
25 million Ghana, ye ne Galamsey. Ujawe, baby awufi, bunye biye Galamsey. When you are Galamsey, on to me, Cassel, Nebuchadnezzar, na danfu bia nye Galamsey. It's also Begunu, near to Nidia, on Gunia Sabetuam. Me, MPP Nibanka Sankasa, Obi so Biawa Becatch on the MPP Niba. Ah, me fine people in Diago. Nelson, Galamsey, Yaye, Edia Pija Party, nephew opposition, Edia Power. Galamsey, and Yaye Pija MPP Party, 8 years no more opposition. Mumbisa Honorable Minister, and say, Tama, more opposition, or to Nesia Kotiada. Bisame, school down half for a book. How much did you ska? Yan Galamsey for near Kayumbom Yaji.
We are hungry. He should allow us to work. There are no jobs anywhere. He should help us. In Ghana, everyone is mining. So if you want to stop small-scale mining, then prepare to be voted out.
Ghanaians are calling on us to clamp down on Galamsey. Some people are kicking against this. If there are 25 million people in Ghana, 24 million people want us to stop the practice.
24 million in Galamsey. 24 million as against 1 million.
And about 1 million people don't want us to stop it. Who will you listen to? I'm asking you, who would you pay attention to? Apart from the distraction to our water bodies, we may not get potable water in 10 years' time. If that would affect our government in any way, we'll still go ahead. We'll clamp down on Galamsey. We are serious about it. We will stop it. So please, do the right thing. We will not watch you destroy the land. Yesterday, we saw the Brim River. It is now like cocoa powder. I've heard some people saying they will not vote for us. Well, we shall see. If they will vote us out because of that, we shall see. I'm of the strong conviction that When we stop it and bring good initiatives, Ghanaians will support us.
Ghana for na no ebe for ayeso.
Galamsey, I'm saying you may be a car. Say, Auntie, I say, Juma. Maybe can say, for my Ghana for A2 Sikano, may Baby Tremu. If just say to scale more Ghana, and yet that. Yen nanum, in the chat says, me said, Sika, 1 year Baby to Sika, ye tiamra, and no, and I'm impressed by Baby Kosovo. Illegal mining, that is what I'm against. I Baby Haye. And Tebi Chima Hinkro, a brim. I am a boy. And number 1 year, I took Sikawumu. Densu, Brim, Nina, I say, yet to be in mining along the water bodies cannot continue if we want to preserve the nature and our system. Cannot continue. But this is say, Galamsey for say. Se passe me se me babe dim rano so won so a na election I be MPP for who become me dey hia me ni se me ye de Nyankopon aka kire me se e hia se me babe ye anu na hia me na me babe ye nhese ya ebe bo ma no nkoso anu na hia me nya election asem de nhese ya betumi aye ama Omano enya nkoso yana no jasasi mai yetumi nya bibi papa kura yesu enja no sa ma ye nana no na no ne kokese a aba efa Galamsey.
All too soon time is flying, but let's take a quick break so we come and then take a roundup. Just a quick break. Well, thank you very much for staying, and you heard all those sounds and the conversations going on. Do I still have Suleiman on the phone?
Yeah, no.
Oh, good. We're going to round up now, but you heard all the voices. On the roundup, what can we do, you and I, media, everything, to support the president to stand resolute? Because as a politician, these sound bites can be very scary.
Nana is a question to me. I think you made a passing back before we went on the break, and it has to do with that Kantier contribution and mining's contribution.
Yes,
I think that's an interesting one. Yeah. I don't know where. Have you seen that report? Have you seen that report?
Well, the report I think was in 2014. I haven't seen it, but it's been quoted by fairly reputable people.
If it did, there's a report of that data. But
I have to find it.
I think the easiest reference, Nana, is to go to DRA. They are the authority which collects all the revenue. Go there and you see for yourself. Ranking, the past 5, 6, 7 years, 10 years, mining has been number 1. In fact, if you look at the corporate contributors to GRA, the first 2 last year came from the mining industry, Gold Fields and Newmont. So that is
mining makes more than cocoa.
You go find out. You just go find out. Do a little research, and then you invite me to the
I will have to. I will have to.
We deal with credible research, not rumors and innuendo.
But give me 1 minute. How do we back this campaign?
I think I like what is happening. Practically every credible organization you find in this country is supporting, because it's about our future. Mm-hmm. It's about our livelihood. And it's important that we all support our government to be successful in this endeavor. Mm-hmm. We have been close to the fire, so we are quite excited about it. We need to support the president and the minister. They're both doing very well. Of course, we hear some noises. There are very few of society who are benefiting directly from our resources. So don't forget the resources belong to all of us. But I think we should never give up. We should give the support and the support to the minister and then the president fully to implement their mandate, because it's about our future. We should never waver at all.
Thank you very much there. Thank you very much, Suleiman Okoni, CEO, Chamber of Mines, Ghana Chamber of Mines. Let me come to studio, Dr. Bossman Asare. I mean, if you're president, maybe out there in the open, you can beat your chest, but if you hear these sound bites, I mean, there's a shivering sound bite, because even if you want to do just 4 years, what about the people you're going to hand the baton to? So, how do we go forward? How much more support do we give him? Or what's the game plan?
I think the president has led the way. And normally in this competitive political environment, you want to make sure that your party is also in a very good shape. And I think, Nana, we made an earlier point, the media is on board, civil society, and Ghanaians in general are on board. And I think the deputy minister for, I don't know if the land forestry or something, was saying that about 24 million of the Ghanaian people are really committed to the fight against Galamsey. So that's a clear indication that the president has the support of the masses. But even beyond that, I think normally when you look at the president of the republic at his age, this is someone who is thinking of legacy. When you attain that particular age, you are thinking in terms of legacy. And how exciting would it be when maybe you have left office, you are no longer the president of the republic, and people will remember and they will say that it was during your time we were able to address this particular problem. I think the president recognizes that he wants to be seen in the light of as a very transformational leader, as someone who was able to address a critical national challenge. I think on that score, Ghanaians also, we owe it as a duty, but we cannot continue to allow this practice to go on. In the areas where these things are going on, it's just bad. When you go, almost all the regions, Western region is even the worst place, Ashanti region, the Konongo area, where they do it, these places are very, very bad. And we don't want our future to be undermined because some individuals want to enrich themselves at our expense. So I expect the media to do it continuously. Civil society, we don't want a situation whereby we talk about it for maybe 1 month, then we stop talking about it. It must be very persistent and consistent. And once we can do that, I think we may end up helping the president addressing this problem.
If he wins, could it set a precedent? I say this because once upon a time, one political party was campaigning to come to power and told the other one had driven all the hawkers from the Kaswa, the sidewalks. And he says, look, if I come to power, I'll bring you back on the sidewalk to sell. And indeed, when they came to power, they brought people onto the sidewalks. So that was basically their reward. If we are able to win on this, and when I say win, I'm thinking as a Ghana, would this set a precedent where people now think that, well, if I do the good thing, they'll vote for me, therefore I'm not going to allow this blackmail again? Can it set a precedent?
I think it will, because Ghanaians have become very sophisticated. Now, let's be very frank, these 2016 elections, I know many NDC activists, actors, senior people are surprised about the outcome. That's a clear indication that when the Ghanaian people think that you are doing something that is good, they are going to support. So I think it's going to serve as a precedent. And I believe we are going to win this fight. And if the government continues, we are going to win. And they can go a long way to serve the Ghanaian people.
Thank you very much. And the number will be on the screen, the number for which if you need, well, it's not if you need, well, you have to. You have to. Don't send any sentimental messages as in, oh, I feel sorry for them, whatever it is. No. Even if it's 10 CDs, just send 10 CDs. So on your screen are the numbers. Who knows, maybe somebody may be visually impaired and listening. Let me give you the MTN mobile number. It's 054. Oh, some designs on it. If you put it back on there, I'll read it for you. Let's wait to see if I can have it back and then I'll read it for you. Yep, the number is 054 796 6662. 054 796 6662. So that's the mobile money number. Send anything. 2 cities, 1 city, 10 cities, 1,000, 1,000,000. Send something. Don't send sentiment, send something so that we can sit back and say, you know what, we did it as Ghanaians, and we will feel very proud. And I want to say thank you so much to Dr. Bossman Asare, Head of Political Science, University of Ghana, for that insight and a beautiful conversation. To you at home, tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Thank you very much. Doc, thank you very much.